Welcome to the Risk of Insanity podcast. This is Alex.
And I'm Shandor. We have John Bozecki here today with us to talk about his journey and his different life experience.
I've been friends with John for a very long time, pretty much as long as I can remember. And I feel very grateful to have seen this person become who he is. So let's get this started.
So John, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so basically I'm from the Chicago suburbs. I grew up there for about everything before college, so up until I was about 18 years old. Then I go to Wichita State University. I'm a super senior. Oh my God, I can't count. 9th semester in school. And it's been a long journey regarding that, but that's where I grew up, and now my family lives in Alabama. I'm actually shooting this podcast with you guys like a couple hours before I drive from Ohio to Alabama, so kind of a crazy scenery change, but it is what it is, you know?
Yeah. So how old are you?
I am 22 years old.
Man, I mean, there's a lot of stories there. I know. I mean, I've known you for a long time. So, what are you doing with your life right now?
Well, that's kind of why I'm in Ohio. This is one avenue, I guess, that I'm exploring. So as I mentioned before, I intend to graduate here soon, this coming semester, with a bachelor's in biomedical engineering and a minor in biology. And you know, it's great, but at the same time, there's so much other opportunity out there that I'd like to explore. And for those of you that are listening to this, I'm personally also not listening to, but just here to figure out if, you know, there's the whole trend right now where people are like, oh, I trade stocks, I do this and that with my investment portfolio, and that's great that there's a lot of exposure, you know, to the financial markets and stuff. But if you go out there and actually talk to someone that's been in it for years, there's a clear level of experience and just knowledge that a lot of people are lacking, and it's a little upsetting to see or just hear when someone is talking to you and either boasting or whatever, but it's just you're not really gaining any knowledge out of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, could you say that it's more you're trying to look for and go towards a passion that you know, something you actually enjoy and spending your time on, where your energy naturally flows to?
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got basically one life outside of religion and all that stuff. Just, you know, I'm here right now, and I know that the world is full of opportunity, and I don't want to be not short-sighted, but, you know, just go out there and explore. Go see different things. Go do different things. Try whatever you want to try. And you know what? If it works out, that's awesome. That's everyone's dream, right? But if it doesn't work out, don't be upset, because at least you tried. How many people are in this world that, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and never end up even getting to do it or even trying it? It's a little upsetting that that's what most of the people in the world will experience. And I don't want to, you know, live with regret or anything. So if there's a chance or opportunity, just go for it. You know?
I really admire that open-minded, go-getter attitude of yours. Shandor, do you have any questions for John here?
Yeah, so you mentioned how you're kind of just exploring right now. What kind of opportunities are you personally exploring right now?
So to give a little background to listeners, I, you know, as I said, grew up in the Chicago suburbs. I met these guys through Hungarian Scouts. I've known them almost forever, and I've done a lot of different things in my lifetime. I mean, right now I'm a DoorDash driver, but that makes sense because I'm focusing on getting my degree. And then I also did Taekwondo for 16 years.
Oh, okay.
I started when I was 3.5 years old, and then recently, pre-COVID, I was actually teaching my own Taekwondo demonstration team over in the Kansas area, and that was a absolutely awesome experience, to just go do demonstrations and stuff at these big events like Asian Fest in Wichita, which is absolutely huge. And
Asian Fest in Wichita,
yeah,
Kansas.
I know it sounds a little out there, but that's the
yeah,
truth,
it's just
man.
not a place that you expect there to be an Asian Fest, bro.
Well, it's pretty cool. If anyone's in the Wichita area, you should definitely go check it out. I've seen some really cool stuff there.
Yeah.
But so I did that, and then COVID hit, and I unfortunately since then have not been able to go back to that. The three main students that I had other students as well, but they were my core group that I focused on and trained rigorously, and I put them through a lot, but they definitely were the ones that excelled and the ones that could actually help others and teach it to them if I'm not there and whatnot. So they unfortunately, just like me, went to college and they're no longer going to be in the area. And because of that, I just decided, what, I'm just going to absolve this and just move onto something else. I was blessed to even get the chance to do it, to try it out, and I'm very happy that I did, and I would not trade that for anything. But I'm also willing to let it go and try and do that somewhere else, get that same joyful experience.
It's just
that
a
I had
chapter
with
of
that.
your life,
Right.
And it's nice that you can give back to something that has shaped you and so much of your life.
Right.
So.
Sorry, technical difficulties. These guys are freaking out right now.
I was not expecting you to point to me like that. Because
He
when he
knows.
normally cuts in like that, he's got something to say after because he's impatient and wants to spit it out.
Well,
But
I just want to keep it flowing with you.
Of course,
so I
yeah.
can get my little comments and then just try to shut up.
So with all these opportunities popping up, how do you find what you're passionate about? People always want to be able to find what they're passionate about, to be able to make money off what they're passionate about. How do you go about finding your true passion?
So I'm going to take that in two different avenues, because there is the money aspect to everything, but then there's the passion side. And this is one of the biggest questions in life, is finding that balance between the two where you can be happy and make money. How many people are, oh, I want to be an NBA superstar, I want to make art, music, all this stuff. And that's great, but some of these things are, let's be realistic, like if you go into the art field, like I love art, I'm a big fan of art, but for someone that goes to college to study art and everything, I'm not doubtful, because I do like to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're gonna make it, but at the same time you gotta be real with yourself. And I'm not here to tell anyone what to do with their lives, obviously, but it's up to them to go look in the mirror and be like, hey, can I really do this? Are the odds in my favor? Are my family supportive of me? Do I have the resources to make this happen?
Yeah,
It's a lot. It's really a lot.
I think some career paths are very like niche, and it's not like so much of looking in the mirror and saying, hey, can I do this? It's how important is this to me? Is this a priority? And because you can definitely just start small and understand that you're gonna have a different job, and you try to do that until maybe it replaces your other job, or you just make a little extra income and you do it because it's fun and you're monetizing a hobby.
Right. And again, but then comes the balance, because how much can you really monetize off of said hobby? That's another factor, because not everything scales the same way. Hence why I also am exploring stocks and stuff like that. Why? I say this to everyone. Listen, if you make a graph right now, if you picture it, the X of the graph is just time, and then the Y is money. If you get a 9-to-5 job, your income, okay, is almost a stagnant line across that graph. It does not change. You might get a raise, get a couple extra bucks, that's great. It gets a little bump in there, and then stagnant for who knows how long. Hell, you might even lose your job, and then it's just back to square one, trying to climb the ladder, whatever it is, some kind of unfortunate event. And that's just the realization. A lot of people, there are sayings, Chandra said it the other day, I believe. He said that, some people are willing to work a 9-to-5 for 40 years, and when someone wants to do stock trading or something, they're like, oh, that's too risky. Like, is that really risky though?
So yeah, to clarify that statement is, so when people look at an entrepreneur who creates a business for 10 years, they think that's too long. They're very impatient. They want the money now. But then they end up living their lives at a 9-to-5 because they never created something to give themselves back money. They don't create an asset. They go work and trade their time for money. And as you said, with stocks, just because you want to make money, you still have to put in the time and effort. People consider looking at the market, playing with the market as gambling, because they don't take the time and effort to actually understand how it works. And I feel like that's something I'd like to expand upon with you, is what have you done to essentially, obviously there's different successes and whatnot, but what have you done so far to try to get yourself to better position yourself to succeed with stocks?
Yeah, because I'm curious on that too, and like there has to have been some hardships and some kind of bumps in the road along the way, because it's been what, 2.5 years now.
Yeah, about 2.5 years, and I know the people listening can't see my face, but I'm just smiling because that's the thing about when someone does something and they make it to the top. I am by no means at the top. This is not relevant to me exactly regarding stocks, but the people at the top, you don't see the stuff that they went through to get to where they are. It's easy to criticize them and be like, oh, they have all this money, whatever, like, just to hate on them. But you don't see the after hours that they put in. You don't see...
I think that's that illusion of the overnight success, you know?
Right. And is it really overnight success? Well, guess what? While you're sleeping, I'm working. So if it happens overnight,
Not
I was
always
still
literally,
working,
but yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, no, kind of really, literally. I told you, here's the background to how I started with
most people
stocks.
at our age, they sleep in, you know?
Right. But here's how it started. I had $1 in Cash App. That is it. $1, right? A measly dollar that just, who cares? That's the way I looked at it. I'm like, what am I going to do with this dollar? And I guess I was screwing around with my phone, and I happened to click a button. And I was like, what the hell is this? And it was a Bitcoin chart. And now, as you guys know, I'm a biomedical engineer, or hopefully will be soon. And I understand math a little bit. And I was like, well, let's put this dollar in there and let's just see what happens, just whatever. Put the dollar in there, and, day or two goes by, and $1.14. Now, you guys can laugh at that and be like, it's only 14 cents. Who cares? But see, this is where, to dig a little deeper and just to understand, in a couple of days, on $1, right, 14 cents, that's 14% gain in a couple of days. And then my limited knowledge at the time, I didn't know what's your average return on like ETFs and like index funds, all that stuff. But 14% is just, you just start scaling in your head. That's what I did. I was like, what if it was like $10, $100, $1,000, 10 grand, 100? You just keep going up. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, there's also a point in trading. Now that I know, like, you can't scale up forever, but that's the principle that I'm trying to say here. It's still the same. If you trade with even 10 grand, if you make 14% on that money in a couple of days, some people are busting their backs to make that money at a job that they absolutely hate, that they see no future in. They go there every day and are just like, oh, how can I do the least amount of work and not get fired?
But I think I want to point out there that, it's at a job that they hate. And it's not like you're saying do this if you hate your job. It's like, we do this because we actually enjoy this.
Right. And you know what? I do like to play video games. I was big into video games a majority of my life. And actually, what's crazy is that when I started the whole trading thing, so I told you guys that I started with the Cash App, and I started digging into YouTube and just online trying to figure out how can I be better at this? How can I understand what is actually going on? And, along the way, it just dawned on me that I really actually like this stuff. Now, whether it's because I like video games, I kind of treat it as a video game, that, that's up to my discretion, I guess, and how I see it. But at the same time, it's just, it kind of really grew on me because my father and my godfather, when I was younger, also tried to show me this stuff. And I was like, oh, I don't really care about that. Who cares? This is grown-up talk. Well, unfortunately, I'm 22 years old now. I guess I'm classified as a grown-up. So
I guess
I have to actually make grown-up decisions. And you know what? This is where I spent a lot of my time reflecting. So basically, trading, it has really done a lot more than just, like reflecting about the charts and decisions I made in the financial markets and whether they were good, bad, how I could have done better. That's one half of it. This is probably why I like trading the most, because it forces you to absolutely dig deeper into your own patterns of behavior, how you just honestly live your life. It's honestly impacted me to that point because it has disciplined me to live a certain way and to always I can't think of the word, but dig deeper and rearrange my own thoughts and my persona and who I am today. And like, for example, right now I'm about to go on this 10.5-hour drive, right? To get from here to Alabama.
Yeah.
And obviously I have to pass the time somehow. typically what I'll end up doing is I'll have music playing for a little bit, kind of bump along, and then eventually get lost in my own thoughts of financial markets and how I can do better and all that. But then from there it just leads to, how can I apply some of these principles that might be relevant in the financial markets to my actual life, And it might not sound really believable that you could get all of that from doing something like this, but I'm a true believer that you can, and then thinking more long term, because for example, the habits that you have in the stock market, all the game is really about is consistency, discipline and consistency. You can get a lucky, big winner, and then the next day just give it all back immediately, like as if it never happened.
Been there, done that.
Yep. And that's why a lot of people have that stigma that stock trading is gambling. It's so risky. It's a fool's game. And yeah, it might be to someone who has never put any time in to actually learn this stuff. I mean, I guess you guys already mentioned it. I've been doing it for 2.5 years. I would come home from my chemistry lab. I would have a chemistry lab sophomore year when I first started this stuff until 10 p.m. I would get back to my crappy apartment and I would eat something, and then from there turn the TV on, YouTube, whatever, and I would just learn stocks until 3, 4 in the morning. This is where you talked about overnight success. Yeah, over many nights, but eventually success. And the reason why we're going to use the word success here, although I'm not by no means a millionaire or financially independent or anything else that I aspire to become in the future, it's success because this is the first year since January 1st, 2021, where I'm actually profitable. For 2 years, I was losing money. Granted, it wasn't a lot of money because I also understood, like, if you get so hyped right now,
you're learning.
Right. If you get hyped from this podcast right now and you want to go into financial markets, just from my personal opinion, you take it as you will, but please do not put $5,000, $10,000 in there. If you cannot afford to lose that money, start with $100. That's exactly what I did, or $200. And you know what happened the first day? I lost half of it. All right, it took a couple hours and I lost half of it.
Dude, that was one of the funniest stories I ever heard. I don't want to get into that right now because it's kind of a long story, but yeah, that's hilarious.
No. I guess just to put a quick disclaimer in here, we are not financial advisors.
Absolutely not.
I am not a CPA, and I am not your CPA.
So, yeah, and I'm just some dude on some podcast, so just don't even worry about me. I won't be here next week either, or however more podcasts come after this. Maybe in the future I'm actually successful, but we'll see.
But going back to it then, you talked about your success, right, being profitable this first year. In the long term, what would you categorize as success for you? Because let's say...
Financially independent,
okay. But obviously doing your own thing, right, something you're passionate about for money rather than being stuck to a 9-to-5, that can be considered a success, right?
Right.
There's so many different levels to this success. Mm-hmm. How would you define this ultimate...
So I guess I jumped the gun on that one. I got a little ahead of myself when I started saying, financially independent, because
I'd like you to explain, define that too. Like, what is your level of financial independence?
So to break it down, a little more background about myself. I am single. I've been single since...
What?
I've been single since... I know,
what?
Right? I've been single since college started, freshman year. And that's not on accident. That's what I wanted. That's what I really wanted. And I truly believe that college is about figuring out yourself, building your own little castle, or however you want to put it. And this is the time to do it. You have the energy. You have the time. You can network with people. Hence why I'm here with you guys right now, because we talk stocks a lot. This whole week has been basically just stocks. A little bit of fun too, but that's why I came here. And why could I do that? Well, because I'm in college. I'm on break right now, kind of. I was actually writing a final exam on Thursday for about 9 hours, and that was a good time.
But I like how when you came, we talked about it when you first came, and I didn't know exactly why you were coming. You're like, well, no, I mean, you could call this a business trip. I'm like, And after we started talking about everything, I'm like, yeah, this is if you weren't a college student, this is exactly what someone would call a business trip. And it literally was us talking business and working on what we do separately and trying to do it together and see how it works.
Exactly. But whether or not it's a business trip or not, I also at the same time, I got a lot of questions I got to answer. I got to find some kind of answers because I'm running out of time, and it's that post-graduation dilemma as to what do I do now? I if I was graduating with a master's, well, it'd be a lot easier to say what am I going to do now, but we're not there yet. I don't even know if we're going to get there. See, that's what I'm talking about. I don't even know if I want to do grad school, focus on the stocks, if I really wanted to do like open up a private gym for I train Krav Maga now, but Taekwondo Krav Maga, something like that. It's just, the opportunities are endless. And, on the downside, you go through a certain door and the other one's closed forever.
I like that you see opportunities. Like what really got you on that? Because I'm a believer in the kind of thing is like if you're looking for the bad, you're gonna be seeing crappy situations all around. If you're looking for opportunity, if you're open to it, you'll see the opportunity. So what is something that really helped you change that view and start actually looking for opportunity and be like, the opportunity's everywhere?
That's a good question. I also went to high school for science, engineering, technology, and basically I've been doing engineering for too long. And I decided, you know what, I think there's a lot more here that I could try and just see where it goes. I'm kind of optimistic on my future because I don't give up very easily. I used to I would never give up, but there would be times where I wasn't as motivated to really not just like half-ass it, like go for it, and definitely in high school I was one of those people where I get through the academy barely, I almost got failed out twice, still made it, and that's what matters is I still made it. But I sometimes wonder what would have happened had I really went for it rather than being at the bottom of the barrel in the academy. What if I was trying to be the top of the academy? And I understand that school is important and stuff, but you know what? I don't think school led me on this path where I am today. I disagree. Everything that I've learned, especially regarding financial markets, has been on my own. I have not taken the last economics class I ever took in my life was in high school, junior year, and that's that.
They had that in your high school?
Yeah.
They had that in our high school too.
They did?
It was a macroeconomics class.
Oh.
So,
should be pushing. That should be like an elective you have to take.
Yeah, well, it kind of was, but besides the point is that has absolutely nothing to do with where I am today. And again, I mentioned that I'm at the bottom of the barrel for that academy, and that's fine. I realize that, and I'm totally okay with that because it helped me. Like, it was kind of rough, because a lot of people would, they just said I didn't care, I didn't try, and all these other things. And that is true to a certain degree, and I'm willing to accept that. But at the same time, had I not, gone through that and realized that who I was back then was just, I didn't want to keep doing that. I don't want people to look at me and be like, oh, you're not worth anything, you're not good at anything. And I know that I'm not trying to cater to other people. That's not what I'm trying. That's not the point I want to make. It's just like knowing that if enough people say it to you, you just kind of look in the mirror and you're like, they're probably right. I could probably do better, and then just pick yourself up and just do better. There's no excuse not to.
So at that point, you decided, you basically made the choice, you made the decision to start believing in yourself.
Yeah, that I can do anything. Who's to say I can't be a stock trader? I'm profitable. 9 out of 10 people are not profitable, let alone do this for 2.5 years now. They give up after the first 2 months. And I'll be honest, it was just a shit show. It really was. Oh man, that was so many hours of just red, of just losing money. And it absolutely sucked. And don't get me wrong, I'm still, hanging in there, but I'm in the green now. All the money that I've poured into this and lost, I've got all that back, and I'm up a little bit. You know?
So now on this path you're on, this journey to find yourself, what you want to do, how to become successful in it. If you were to do it all again, I know we're still young, but knowing what you know now, with already having this great sense of, oh, I want to do stocks, right? I kind of figured out what I like to do, what I don't like to do. If you went back a couple of years, what would you change?
Absolutely nothing. Because I don't know if I'd end up here again. You know?
I like that answer.
You guys, if you guys are the believer in the butterfly effect, I definitely am. Like I said, you go through one door, another door closes. Who's to say I would end up at the same door if I did even missed one track meet in high school or whatever? What, you know, who knows? Maybe that track meet, I would have blown out my leg. I would be in a wheelchair right now, God forbid, and I'd have more pressing things to deal with than who I am today. You know? All it takes is one time to absolutely change the course of your life. I have a friend. I knew him since middle school. He was a cool guy. We were close, relatively speaking. We've drifted apart since then, which is because I went to the academy and didn't go to the same high school as him anymore. But besides the point, you know, I was scrolling through Facebook and, man, this guy had a freak, like, life accident. He was on his bicycle. It's a bicycle, and he was wearing a helmet. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he, like, hit a curb or something, fell off his bike, and got ran over by a car. And his helmet saved his life. Literally, his helmet was, like, crumpled into nothing, but he was alive. And I just saw how, you know, even to this day, right before I came on this trip, he was posting something about how he's, like, fundraising for just bicycle safety and stuff like that, and why you should wear a helmet, and why you know, all the above regarding that. But now you see, had that not happened,
he wouldn't be doing that.
He would not be doing that.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just a very good example, and I would wish that it had not happened to him, but at the same time, he took it as a wake-up call, like his true awakening. And now that's what he does, and I respect him for that.
So what I'm getting from that is whatever experience you've had, positive or negative, it all shapes you. So you should be appreciative for everything you've gone through.
Exactly.
Because it makes you who you are.
Exactly.
And you will just keep getting to a stage of improvement if you're appreciative of everything you've gone through.
Right. And, you know, there's a great... I follow a lot of Instagram pages, too, just kind of like either motivational or financially inclined or whatever. But there was one where it was saying, you know, don't feel bad for yourself if you're at the bottom. There's no way to go but up.
Yeah, there's only one way to go.
You know?
But I like how you mentioned the social media thing because, you know, though, yeah, I don't want to spend time on social media. I
still don't.
I got a point in my life where I was like, screw all of this stupid stuff that means nothing to me that I follow that just is wasting my time. And it became all motivational stuff, all self-help stuff, all, you know, eating healthy, working out, stocks. Like, it just be like, it's a tool. Use it as a tool, like, to build what you want into your life. If you know you're gonna be spending some time on it, shape it to be what you want yourself to shape to be.
Right. And another great saying too is you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. And some of the guys are smiling here because I've said this maybe 6 or 7 times in the week that I've been here. At least once a day is a daily.
In addition to that, we've mentioned that in a couple of podcasts before here.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's funny. I haven't heard really any of the other podcasts, so that just shows. But see, look at that. There's 3 of us in this room right now, and we're all referencing the same thing because that's who we are.
We just know.
We hang around people that are the same in that aspect, and you know what's interesting, that for those, like, most of you probably don't know who I am, but you know, if I was just a complete asshole when I was younger, I did stuff that I'm not exactly proud of, and it is what it is. I can't take it back, and I don't want to blame anyone in particular because I can really only put the blame on myself because I was the one that took those actions, not someone else. Someone else can't really make me do that. But that peer pressure and those people that you're around where they're okay with it, or they're even like, yo, you should do this because this is what we do. You know, it's almost like a test of friendship, whether or not you're willing to do what your quote-unquote friends are willing to do. And some people are easy to just to just give in and be like, oh, they're my friends, like they don't want what's worse for me or whatever, and they're okay with it, and then they turn into people that just completely derail their lives for the worst. And as someone that, I don't want to make it sound like I had such a hard past or anything like that, because there's definitely people that have it way harder than I've ever had it, and I'm, I'm willing to completely respect that, and I know my place regarding that. But at the same time, I definitely was not the person that I am today. No one really is. And that moment where I just kind of flipped the switch, first of all, I got out of that area. I came to Kansas. Completely new life. I knew literally no one. I didn't even know how to pronounce Wichita. I pronounced it Wichita. I didn't even know where I was. Yeah, exactly, right? It's hilarious,
Bro.
But that's how much of a scenery change it was for me. And I guess just gradually over time, I met these new people, and they thought a new way, and it just kind of rubbed off on me. Even that academy for science, engineering, technology, I hung around people that, I just kind of were like, oh, they're way more intelligent, maybe whatever, take school too serious and whatever. But somewhere down the line, it just, bless you, man.
Thank you.
It just bridged the gap, as to where I am today. And I'm not sure what happened, but that's the crazy part, is I could not tell you what happened, but the only thing I do know is I was hanging around different people.
So, quick question. Do you ever ask yourself, is this what I want for my life? Or you're thinking to yourself during a situation while it's happening, like, this is not something I want for my life. This is not how I want my future to be like. I don't want more things to happen like this.
So,
like, are you consciously thinking about and trying to choose what you're doing? Like, I'll be honest, the other night when we met up with some friends, and I know a lot of people don't have the same views as me, but I don't really like to drink. And it got to a point in the night where it's basically midnight. Everyone just is going crazy, and and they want to just keep going out to the bars, and I'm like, listen, like, I don't that's not the life I want for myself. I'm tired. I like getting up early. I'm going to bed. And I stood my ground with my own values, and then I went to bed. It's because I chose that I chose a different life.
Sure, and that's.
So I'm not saying
No.
Exactly in that scenario, but have
Right.
you ever? I'm just curious on if somebody else has experienced those thoughts.
So the only way you can know what you don't want in your life is if you experience it. And until then, I'm open, relatively speaking. If I haven't experienced something, I'm pretty open to just see what happens, good or for bad. But from that experience, well, I will know if that's what I want now or not. If you guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It wasn't exactly what I was getting at, but that's kind of the base, and that's
Rephrase
those
it.
are some really strong.
Let me come
points.
at you with that real quick on a follow-up here. Is you mentioned if you haven't experienced it or you don't know what you want. What if you do know what you want already?
Yeah. That's kind of what I was getting at.
If something that I'm doing is getting in the way of what I want to do, well, a sane person would say no, right? They would be like, this is counterproductive to what I'm trying to accomplish with my life.
Do you think some people even think about that?
No, and that's what I wanted to say, is that a sane person, but everyone, relatively speaking, is sane. Why is it that some people still make those decisions then? They know it in the moment. This is not what I should be doing, and they do it anyway. And that's just where your own willpower of morals, values, just all the above come into play and just push you to, even if they're your closest friends, to be able to say no, to draw that line and just say no. A lot of people are too easy with their friends to just, let the boundaries kind of blend, and then where's the end of it? I don't know. If you ask the people I live with now in Kansas, they'll probably tell you that I'm really anal about like having a clean house and what goes on at the house when we're partying and stuff. And I don't care, because we live there. This is our house. We have to take care of it, not you. If you come here and you screw it up, I don't want to deal with that.
Those are some healthy boundaries.
I'm going to tell you that I'm not okay with that. And if that's your like if you're getting upset, you're welcome to not come back. I don't care. Even if you're my best friend. This one of our like close friends there ripped the fucking whiteboard off of the wall when he was drunk, and there's like wallpaper and stuff gone now there, and it's still on the ground. And I told him, you're fucking fixing that. I'm not fixing that. If you want to be drunk and destroy our home, you are welcome to fix it. And he says he's gonna fix it, but you get the point. I didn't just laugh and haha, you're so funny. No, you're not funny for doing that. And that's it. And I have no remorse for that.
I'm not sure you should. You know, it's setting a specific boundary and sticking by it. Whether it's kids, friends, it doesn't matter. Like, yourself, even your own self-respect and self-love,
right?
You know, should be partly do with your boundaries and sticking.
People
to
should
it.
Respect that, though.
Yeah.
Even your closest friends, if they're not willing to respect that, well, maybe you should reconsider who your friends
Walk away.
are. You know, like I understand every once in a while, you know, you just naturally like try to convince them or something, but at the same time, if they're constantly doing it and just not hearing to what you have to say about who you are as a person and how you don't want to do these things, then you've probably got a serious problem there with who your friends are.
No, definitely, I agree with that. I feel like you have to be aware of your surrounding and just understand that if you're not in a situation that you think you will improve yourself or even are comfortable with in being, you need to take yourself out, even if it's just for a weekend to get away from it, to reevaluate. Just kind of reset your mentality on things and then come back with the firm belief of this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and this is how I'm going to go about improving my life day after day.
Right. But just a side note, you know, we're always, like, ourselves are always changing too. So you might think you know what you want now, but it's probably going to change. It definitely changed for me. And that's where in the moment, you know, it changes to how, yeah, in the moment right now, this seems like it's not the best idea. And then maybe 10 years from now, you're like, dude, had I done that, oh my God, I'd be way closer to where I want to be now or whatever, you know? So you just try to make the best decisions in that moment, and you do let them define you in that instance, but you don't let them define you over the long term necessarily. At some point, you'll hit that plateau, and you know you'll know who you are, your individuality, and everything. But I mean, we're young now. Like I said, we can be whoever we want. So just being malleable.
Absolutely, I really like that. So if there's one thing you'd like to communicate to the viewers, what would it be? From your experiences.
From my experience, if you're in college, you know, it's great to have someone else by your side, and hopefully they're supportive and everything. But at the same time, if you as an individual can surpass all of those problems and self-confidence issues or whatever they are, the things that gnaw at you deep down and maybe go cry about in a corner with no one watching, if you can by yourself stand above all that and get through that, you will become, I mean, damn near close to the best version of yourself possible in the long term. Because you know, you're not relying on someone else to do the work for you. You did that work. You did that work, and no one can take that away from you.
Absolutely. I really think you summed that up very well. And thank you for being on our podcast, and thank you to all those who are listening to this. This has been The Risk of Insanity.